or anything like that. I actually showed a video to my husband. It's a documentary about doing the first revolutionary communistic party going to Lenin and going to Stalin, which probably maybe you could link it up to you guys. It's in Russian, but you could kind of understand it, see it, view it, real footage.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling him how, like, I remember as a little kid, as the socialist life was kind of going away. I'm 34 years old. Maybe, hold on. I'm trying to stop it. Not working.
Here, take the
There you go. It's crazy how, like, I came here as a political asylum because there was a lot of people that were getting killed, specifically Russian Jewish, by the Chechens, which is a Muslim community, and nobody believed them. And it's funny that the United States was like, "Oh, you're killing those people. Those people are, they're people and they're good people." And at that time, everybody that was in Russia was saying they are not good people and they're about to destroy and kill people. But the whole with the socialist thing, like right now we could go to the store and buy a loaf of bread, right? No, you had to stand in line, a long ass line, to get a loaf of bread. And to get a loaf of bread when I was little, when I left Russia, I was about 7.5. It was costing, like, imagine ruble went from one. Imagine like a loaf of bread right now is $2, right? It went from $2 to $200. That's how much of a difference for the food was there, and people don't understand that. People don't get that. My mom, to buy me a pair of jeans, she had to, like, she couldn't just go to the store and buy. You know what I mean? She had to go to the black market, like a bazaar type of thing, and buy it there.
Okay, the baby's bird. Give me my live stream back.
Okay, but I don't know if they understand. Maybe
They understand.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
It's pretty interesting to hear someone, talking about their personal experiences.
So like my wife showed me this video. Did you read this book?
Yeah.
Then what's the matter? So my wife showed me this video of basically the farming of Crimea,
Mm-hmm.
and which was when they had those propaganda posters that said, fight the kulaks, take the property from the kulaks.
Yeah.
Right. What the kulaks were actually, they were like this big giant Jewish community that they had exiled to Crimea.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent them all out there, and they all started farming out there, and it was basically like a dust bowl. And they were able to convert it from being a dust bowl into actually being productive farmland. And then the Soviets came and said, "Hey, we're really proud of you. You did a good job, and so we're going to take it all." And then they starved them to death. Yeah, I mean, they basically sent them there to die, and then they ended up surviving, and then they had to take all their stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if you grow anything in this country, you have to give a third of your stuff to the government.
And where is this again?
Where was what?
What you're describing, where was this taking place?
Crimea.
Crimea. Where is that?
Yeah, it's like that sliver of land that's kind of like in dispute between Russia and Ukraine right now.
Oh.
Which was nothing.
Yeah. Which was basically, like I said, it was basically a dust bowl before they started farming.
It's crazy. California, you guys, the propaganda about the drought, California does not at all. Okay. There's plenty of water in California.
It's fake news.
Fake. They do that so that way they I don't have,
They can hear you.
but people would stop. They would know, but nobody wants to train.
Phantom Ray's still there?
Hey, my wife.
Yep,
Okay.
just listening
My wife wanted to ask you guys a
and
question.
being mysterious.
You guys are so young, and it fascinates me. I wanted to know, just like a listener,
Mm-hmm.
what made you become an anarcho-capitalist? What changed your mind? What made you?
What triggered you?
Yeah.
Well, what got me into Ancapism, anarcho-capitalist philosophy, and well, the economic side I've yet to look into more, but the philosophy side attracted me. Have you heard of Larkin Rose?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, it was first through him that attracted me to the voluntarist anarcho-capitalist a part of the human spectrum. Yeah, his video on mass mind control, and this was not long after when I was like doing research into MK Ultra and Monarch mind control, and there was this 1960s national anthem, U.S. national anthem that was in the 60s, and I first saw it through someone else on YouTube, in which he slowed it down. In the transitions of the lyrics, there were like subliminal, like hidden messages. Like on normal speed, you wouldn't be able to see them because they appeared and disappeared so fast. But when you like really slow it down, there's the message such as trust in U.S. government, God is real, God is watching, believe in government, God, and obey, consume, obey, consume. Questions, rebellion will not be tolerated. Do not question. Yeah, that was just before I saw Larkin Rose's video on mass mind control, in which I looked at those messages and I did my own video on it. Whoa, you guys muted yourselves?
Yeah, because I'm listening.
Okay. Alright,
Yep.
so...
You don't hear my heavy breathing, do you? Or
I
the
don't
baby
hear
crying.
it. I don't
Yeah.
hear it.
My nose is kind of stuffy right now, so I'm doing a lot of mouth breathing.
Okay, alright, I get it, I
I
understand.
do a lot of that anyway because I'm stupid.
Okay. Continuing then. Yeah, so I did my own video on those subliminal messages, and there was like another thing, like way before that, like way before my rude inner awakening that I already mentioned about the FEMA trailers and Hurricane Katrina survivors getting sick, all that. What was it? Oh yeah, I saw this movie on demand. It was like Comcast on demand called They Live. Have you heard of that?
I'm here to kick ass and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yeah, that movie. Yeah, I saw the whole thing of that, and
That was a great movie. I saw that when I was a little kid.
yeah, I actually want that on DVD now. Um, I hope to get it on DVD so I can add it to my collection. Yeah, that was awesome. So the 1960s national anthem, and seeing those messages like obey, consume, trust in the U.S. government, rebellion will not be tolerated, reminded me of that movie They Live, because when the drifter put on those sunglasses and he was like looking around and he saw all those messages.
Yeah, I remember that. Like it said, like obey on the billboard.
Yeah, and no thought, no independent thought.
Let's look at the book. A lot of brainwashing.
Yeah.
Or being consumed to the point that people are obese, unbelievably obese.
Mm-hmm.
I think that leftists kind of have this like idea that human beings are like easily controlled by advertisement.
Yeah.
And they have this belief, and because of that, I think that's why they sought control of like Hollywood. That's why they seek control of like these sort of communication platforms, because they think that they can just give us subliminal messages and that works. But I don't think it's as effective as they think it is. I think that people just adapt to it and it just becomes white noise to them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and there's the Luciferians within Hollyweird and the pedophile rings.
Oh yeah, and then there's John Podesta's art collection.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
That's weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's freaky.
James Alefantis, what a wholesome person. Not.
Yeah, and then you got Corey Feldman coming out talking about how there's stuff going on in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to so one of you guys answered my question. How does your parents view you guys since you guys are anarcho-capitalists so young? And do you think that's gonna change your point of view in the future? Like once you guys have family, like going to school, and family going to life. Do you think that's gonna be like forever type of thing, or do you think it might change your mind?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
All right. Well, she asked, how do your parents feel about you guys being anarcho-capitalists?
Well, my dad's okay with it. My mom, she's all right with it. It's not like they were strict authoritarians to begin with. They're very lenient in their parenting.
Yeah,
And
my mom was always very encouraging and thinking for yourself and, trying to use reason to explain things. And, it's just my way or the highway.
I like that a lot.
So were they like, would you say they were like, their parenting style was like peaceful and non-confrontational?
Well, my parents, both of them were very peaceful and very helpful people. Like if they had more arms or something, or they could be able to use machines to clone themselves, then they'd do that just to be able to be in more places at once and help more people.
So what about you, Phantom? Why did you become an ANCAP?
I mean, I was just always very skeptical of things. And then, come across libertarian things and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I can't really think of like its failings or whatever. I never was a political person.
Yeah, I never really understood politics at first.
Yeah, I'm
not
just like
the way it was like being portrayed.
In control and running things behind the scenes. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, and why make promises if you're not going to commit to them?
I guess I was already very libertarian. I just didn't have a word for it.
Yeah, I guess I was already open-minded and I don't think I really was a statist to begin with. I just did not take much interest in politics at first.
Yeah, the way I always saw it as a kid is that I didn't obey laws because I shouldn't break the rules, but because it was in my best interest.
Yeah, there are thousands of laws and codes, and they're complicated. You need something like a Black's Law dictionary to really understand what the language within the law books mean.
Well, it's physically impossible for any single person to understand every law.
Yeah, and
I think that's the point.
yeah, even if
So it's
even
physically
if they
impossible for someone to be a law-abiding citizen without help from an expert
yeah.
or several experts.
Yeah, even if kids in schools or in college like had classes that taught all the laws, then there wouldn't be any time for anything else to learn about.
Yeah.
Because there's so many.
I mean, they pretty much waste your time with a lot of stuff in school as it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Dude, and they like it's so like culty too.
Yeah.
So are you guys in school right now?
No,
No.
I'm out of school. I've been out of school. I graduated
You're in
and
college?
no.
Nope. I
But
said,
I'm
fuck
getting
that.
my own college through my self-education. I still have a lot of books to read and all the researching I've been doing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I do things. Self-research.
You guys ever think about looking into praxis?
What's that?
Yeah, what's
I
that?
don't know. I heard about it on the Tom Woods show, and he's had the guy on there. It's basically like college, but it's more like a certificate program, and you're guaranteed to have an internship at the end of it with some company. But it's business related. It's business related.
Yeah.
So it's like basically going to school for a business degree. You're guaranteed a internship, and then you go from there.
Yeah, my interests aren't really business related though.
No, what are your interests related to?
I mean, I'm more into like psychology and philosophy and that kind of stuff. I like helping people.
Businesses help people.
Well,
Yeah.
just there are businesses that help people. I'm just saying it's not like business related.
Yeah, as I said about my mom in the first take that before it got totally raided by leftists, that there's business organizations like Springdale that my mom works at, in which she helps the disabled live more independently. Yeah, and she has a part-time job like that too, but it's just with one client. When her full-time job she usually deals with more than one client.
Yeah, that is a job that I could not do, and I commend anybody that has that level of compassion to be able to do that.
Yeah. And before that, both of my parents were involved in the education system in public schools. And my dad used to be a teacher. At first, before I was born, he was a college professor in California, Berkeley. And
oh wow,
yeah, and some years back, I was when I was still in high school. I graduated in like 2002, so this happened. Yeah, it was like sometime after I graduated, in which my dad was horribly falsely accused for sexual harassment.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's
horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and the cops, oh my gosh, what they did. The criminal things they did. And the lies they told, and the lies on top of lies.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
Well, maybe I could save that. I could go more into that for like another time.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cry bully culture is real.
Yeah, it is. SJWs.
Like,
Oh, and by the way, I'm recording this. I found a way to continue making a video of this with
I did
the
didn't
Xbox
realize that.
DVR.
I did not realize you were being recorded.
Yeah, I mean, either.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you earlier.
I'm suing you off for copyright infringement.
I mean,
JK.
this kind of became like personal chat time.
Well, not it's not like too personal. Like too personal.
I mean,
My wife is bothering me.
Oh, she is?
Not a good question. It's not a good question.
I'm just gonna stop talking.
Okay, well, I could like delete the video then, if I really did something that bothered her.
It doesn't bother me. Oh wait, no. My wife wants to like ask you guys questions because she's super curious and she's nosy.
Oh, okay.
That's what she's bothering me about. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That clear.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that she's not bothered by what I did.
Oh no. My wife's favorite thing to do is talk, and really, I should do a podcast with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what all I've said.
All right. My wife wants to know that if your parents were older when they had you, because they raised you in a peaceful way. She thinks that older parents tend to do.
Well, my parents, I think they were in. I think my mom was in her early 20s when she had me. I think my parents got married first, and then I was born not long after that.
Yep, so that blows the hole in your theory there, honey. So no more questions from you.
Well, I feel people that married later on tend to be a little bit more mature.
Yeah, I think being married and having kids is pretty important.
Yeah.
I feel like people that like don't get married, like I know it's just like a government document or whatever, but I feel like when they're less invested in their children when they don't get married.
Well,
like in general, I don't think that's like a rule. But I think just in general that's the case.
Well, that's more of a statistics thing.
Yeah, that's not like I'm a libertarian. I don't care what you do. You know, fundamentally, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I think you should raise your kids peacefully.
Yeah, the parents should not be secondary. Yeah, I saw this quote posted on Twitter by Hillary Clinton that the state should be train and raise the kids, and that the parents should be secondary. Ugh.
Oh, that was like that It Takes a Village stuff way back when.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was super creepy.
Yeah.
That is not the proper way to do
No.
that thing.
And
That is not how that it takes a village, not a state.
I tweeted the other day that because somebody in an argument said that socialism only works in small groups of people, and I said, no, you're wrong. Socialism only works in the nuclear family. That's the only time it works.
don't tell me it works what?
Socialism only works within the nuclear family. Any group bigger than that, it falls apart.
Why do you say that?
Because that's what families are, you know. We share all of our stuff, you know. I'm like taking care of this kid.
Yeah.
This kid doesn't work, doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
He just sits there. He just sits there and cries and poops.
Yeah.
And I gotta wipe its ass. You know? That's basically,
And change the
you know.
diapers.
But yeah. Yes, I did have her voluntarily. Yeah. We're a voluntary of 3 people.
Awesome.
And a cat and a dog.
Awesome.
Yeah, they don't work either, coincidentally.
No.
I'm like the straight white male, and I'm the only one that works around here.
Mm.
My wife's looking at me because that's not true.
I let him babysit the baby for an hour. Told him to come back home.
That's not true. Did you guys hear that?
No.
She said that she left me alone with the baby for like 2 hours, and I was calling her 20 minutes in. So yeah, I guess since we're recording this, I'll tell you guys how I got into this. My kind of like introduction to not anarcho-capitalism, but libertarianism in general, believe it or not, was Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, oh gosh, the drama king.
Yeah. So it's weird because I was never like a really politically minded person, but what happened was like I was in my senior year of high school when 9/11 happened, and the moment I saw that airplane hit the building and the building go down, I was like, this is a hoax. This is an inside job. Like, as it was happening, I was thinking, this is an inside job. Like, right away. Because just the way the building fell. Because when I was a kid, I was, my aunts took me to the demolition of a Sears Tower in Philadelphia. I think it was in Philadelphia. Well, they took me to this demolition of a famous building, basically.
Yeah.
And when I saw the tower go down, it like triggered in my mind, like, oh my God, that's the demolition. And then from that point on, I like started just going insane. I just got like really unpopular in school because anybody that tried to talk to me, I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, the world that we're looking at isn't real. Like, I really had like a nervous breakdown over 9/11.
So it was 9/11 that triggered you?
It triggered me hardcore. I mean, I'm over it now, you know, but I wasn't then. And so I was kind of like lost, like, and I didn't have a philosophy at all. I became like a nihilist because I felt like, you know, the government's a lie, everything's a lie. And then what happened was, you know, somebody showed me this video called Zeitgeist. Have you guys ever heard of this?
I've heard of what a zeitgeist is.
Have you ever heard? It's a documentary. I forget the guy's name that did it, but he actually ended up having a big like 3-part like debate with Stefan Molyneux. It was actually pretty crazy. But because he's like a total lefty, right? But he basically did this documentary called Zeitgeist, that starts off about how, religion is fake and all these things are fake. But the interesting part is that the end of it talked about fiat currency and talked about what the Federal Reserve did. And that was kind of like my sort of like opening up of that aspect of things, and, and then eventually what happened was Adam Kokesh racked a shotgun in Washington, D.C., and I've been a libertarian ever since. I was like, okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I started, I think my eyes first opened to the fiat currency cronyism through The Creature of Jekyll Island. It was an excerpt from that book by G. Edward Griffin, I think. Yeah.
Which is something they talk about on the AJ show a lot, is that book.
I only watched Alex Jones for like a little bit, and then I heard this crazy rant from him that was like turned me away from him.
Yeah. Oh man, his rants were the best part though. They were great. I mean, I don't like really take them. I don't really take them seriously anymore. But I used to really enjoy those rants.
I just think he's a drama king and he's a meme.
He is. Yeah, some of those rants are gold though. I got an Alex Jones soundboard with all his funniest rants on there. They crack me up. It's so over the top. I remember the one time where he like pretends like to be a liberal and he like freaks out and like rips his shirt off and runs out of the building.
I think I saw part of that.
It's like, man, that guy's taking way too much of his own supplements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like a public service announcement right there. Watch that. Don't OD on Superman vitality, or this is what happens. You start accusing random amphibians of homosexuality.
Yeah. Turn into frogs, gay.
So I just want to say one more thing about that, though. I think the thing that really made me a libertarian and an ANCAP more than anything else was that I used to like to read a lot of sci-fi novels and a lot of fantasy novels.
Oh, awesome.
And I like to play Dungeons and Dragons a lot with my friends when I was in high school.
Oh, and, cool.
So in Dungeons and Dragons, right, you have these character alignments, right?
Yeah.
And like, what was the best character alignment to be if you just wanted to be yourself? And that was, in my opinion, chaotic good. Like, and I mean, like, yeah, it was fun to be the evil guy. It was fun to be
always chaotic neutral.
Yeah, it was fun to be the insane person, or it was fun to be the paladin, right? But if you just wanted to be your run-of-the-mill hero, chaotic good was the easiest one to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you read a lot of fantasy novels, you begin to realize that, I mean, there are interesting characters that are a little evil. There are interesting characters that are insane, but like your cookie cutter textbook basic bitch hero is always chaotic good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, what is chaotic good? Well, chaotic good is somebody that believes in morals but doesn't believe in the law. Right? Like, they'll obey the law if the law is moral. But if the law is immoral, then they're indifferent to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just indifferent to the law in general, and they're more concerned with what is right and what is wrong. Is something that's kind of like inherent in us already. It's something we all like intuitively understand.
Yes.
We all understand this, and I think that's why the basic hero archetype, whether or not people want to admit it, is an anarcho-capitalist or a libertarian of some kind.
Yeah, it's like you don't need a law book or a bureaucrat or a judge or a lawyer to tell you how to be a good person. You sort of already know how to be a good person.
It's kind of so simple
Yeah.
to be a good person that it's so appalling when somebody is not, and it's so obvious when somebody is not.
Yeah.
About like trying to convince people that like taxation is theft, right? I mean, most people understand that already, and like if they don't, well, it took like 18 years of brainwashing to get them to that point. I mean, it takes like 2 decades of a human's life that taxation is not theft. That's how much school you need to believe that. You know, it's not natural to be a statist. You know, it's something that has to be like beaten into you.
Yeah, I was moving the laptop because my parents went to bed.
So that was my Alex Jones-esque rant for the night.
Yeah. Larkin Rose pretty much did it. That's him that pretty much got me into anarcho-capitalism. His videos, his podcasts, his articles. And he's a funny guy.
I'd actually put a bunch of different political ideologies into what sort of rating they'd be in the D&D like alignment thing, but I forgot. It was just something I was doing in my head at one point.
What do you think then? How do you think they match up off the top of your head now? How would you?
Like status would be lawful evil because they believe in necessary evils.
Yeah. There was this guy that I debated on the NAP. Phantom, you remember this? He said that he was on about necessary evil, and I asked him, how does necessary evil minimize evil? And he dodged this question twice, and I called him out on his dodging, and he did not understand what I mean by this question. He did not understand what I meant. He tried to straw man me.
Whole misunderstanding.
Yeah, he said, well, I don't think you understand what it means by necessary. He thought I was asking him something crazy like, how necessary is breathing to minimize breathing? Really dumb argument. I pointed that out on how dumb he was being with that argument. I explained to him why I asked that question. How that question pertained to really absurd logic. In the way that...
Well, if you look at it from the point of view of a statist, has a different moral code, where their main focus is on this idea of suffering as the evil, and that suffering is what determines something from being right or wrong. But sometimes suffering is necessary.
The class struggle.
Yeah, or the struggle I have going to the gym, or the struggle I have brushing my teeth in the morning, or whatever, or I have to suffer under some sort of suffering in order for a greater, gain. But it's weird though, because when you take this to the extreme logical conclusion of this anti-suffering that mainly, but statists in general have. So hold on, before I lose my train of thought, I was listening to a Sam Harris show. You ever guys listen to Sam Harris?
No, never heard of him.
Never heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, he's basically like this intellectual guy that's into I mean, he'd be like a great MK Ultra guy. Like he thinks taking some psychedelics is how you become smarter, or something. But he doesn't believe in free will, and he thinks the ultimate evil is suffering. And he was talking to this other college professor type guy, and they were talking about antinatalism.
Mm-hmm.
That the most humane thing to do for the human race is just to sterilize race, because that way that puts a definitive end to human suffering.
That's dumb.
I know, but that's what happens when you take it to its extreme logical conclusion. But so, when I hear somebody say necessary evil, I understand that they're talking about suffering, and that they don't really, or they're not using the same definition as evil that I would use.
People don't realize that people are happier feeling pain, just amounts of pain, and then happiness, rather than just nothing all the time. They try and say they try and think of it everything balances out on a scale, but the scale isn't balanced inside the person's mind. Usually people who deal with a lot of suffering, the little moments when they are happy are really meaningful to them.
And they probably feel it in a more genuine way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think it was Dostoevsky that said that the way you drive a person insane is just have them fill and empty pitchers of water and emptying them onto the ground, or just have them dig ditches and fill them back up again. You will literally drive a person crazy. But if you give somebody a why, they're doing something, then they can basically through any suffering. If they have some sort of if they know why they're doing what they're doing,
yeah,
accomplish almost anything.
But that also is what lets people do really horrible things to other people. They mistakenly believe it's for some greater good cause.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that being true.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how authoritarians manipulate people.
Hey, I praise the greedy and the selfish, because they are the ones that have benefited the world, and it is the righteous and the do-gooders that have doomed us all.
Yeah. I almost want to say greedy and selfish don't really mean the same thing.
Well, I mean, I'm very greedy when it comes to things like my time with my family.
Yeah.
I want as much time with my family as possible.
The main issues with those words is kind of how people have been conditioned to use them. There's not really good words for reality, if that makes any sense.
Well, I don't think that words like greed were necessarily negatives when these words
Well,
were
not the words themselves are bad.
Well, yeah, the words themselves are meaningless.
Yeah, it's the context.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, people have made the context of a negative thing, so that just saying those words are like, oh, they think of the bad version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the person who hoards so much that they don't actually do good for themselves.
Yeah.
They think of that as greed rather than, you know, oh, I'm going to make lots of money and help lots of people because this thing in my life.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think the way people originally at it was as a sort of, there was a golden mean, right? Where like selfishness, like you have to have a golden mean of selfishness. If you're not selfish enough, then you're a fool and people take advantage of you and you're an idiot. But if you're
Yeah.
too selfish, then you're too obsessed with material things that you don't actually get to enjoy anything.
Yeah, there's not really such a thing as too selfish, though. There's just not being intelligent enough.
Yeah.
Or yeah, not being selfish in the right way.
Like literally, the reason I do like things that people would be considered that people would be that would be considered good by people and everything is because I'm intelligent enough to know that those things are in my best interest.
Yeah, like I went and helped a friend move furniture the other day. And I didn't do it just because I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
I did it because I want his friendship. And him and his wife have a kid, and they raise their kid peacefully. They don't spank their kid. And I want my kid to be around a kid that, even though we have different political philosophies, I want my kid to be around kids that aren't spanked and aren't yelled and screamed at.
Yeah. Like most people intuit that, but they don't understand that. Which kind of leads to this whole like moral thinking
Yeah.
that is wrong. Like, oh, you have to pay taxes because it helps the children or schools and everything.
It's the
Yeah,
price.
that's what
It's the price to pay to live in a civilized society.
No, actually, what it is it's the price we pay because we're not civilized enough to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It's to make up for the civilization that we lack.
yeah, failure of civilization.
Yeah, I came up with the slogan for Ancapism in my head one day. Not a violent revolution, just a social evolution.
Yeah.
I think
More
I shared
like
that with you before.
evolution from the inside.
Well, I mean, socially, when people think about evolution, they always just think about like the single organism. They don't actually think about the social behaviors between organisms,
Yeah.
which is a thing that also changes. You know, obviously, we are very different people today because we're not as tribal. You know what I mean?
Maybe if you explain it a little bit more.
Like we don't congregate in the same ways as we used to.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like, you know, before you'd have your clan or your family, and you know that would be like part of a tribe. Of other tribes that weren't even like, I mean, long ago, they might not have even been the same species, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly it changed from, you know, oh well, all of humanity were brothers and blah blah blah, and then just the way, just socially, people have changed over time. That's the basic concept I'm trying to get across.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really the case. I think it's more like in an individual person's life. I think that people tend to become more tribal as they get older.
Yeah.
with the weird exception of high school, but that's more like being in prison.
It's kind of like
But,
the way
like-
technology advances. I guess social interaction is a kind of technology, if you think about it.
I think that when people are young, they are trying to increase their opportunity to start a family. So they have to be more open-minded and they have to be more tolerant and religions and cultures. But as you get older and when you already have a family, you start steadily becoming less tolerant of those things. And I think that's why you have this sort of like weird thing where like a lot of young people are very leftist, but then a lot of older people tend to be on the right. Does that make sense?
Weird racist uncle.
Yeah, weird racist uncle. He might not have been like that though, younger. You know what I mean? You don't know. I mean, I'm really not entirely convinced like that people in the past were like as racist and as intolerant as people say they were, like in our history books. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm skeptical of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that we were transported back in time that about the same. And many of the reasons why a lot of these sort of like famous hate crimes that happened in the past have made it into their history books was because people at the time immediately recognized that this is horrible that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, I just watched. Who was I watching? Oh, I was watching Esoteric Entity, and he just did a video about the Civil War, right? And it was amazing to me. I didn't realize exactly how many Confederate generals were like actually anti-slavery. Like it's just something I never even knew about.
Yeah.
Well, slavery isn't as popular as people try and make it sound it was.
Yeah, it wasn't that popular. It really wasn't. And I've always been skeptical of this, but I never had proof. But this is what I would used to tell people when I was younger in high school, and this is why I didn't have any friends in high school. I said, like, I said, slavery probably wasn't popular back in the day, because if you think that old people are mad now because illegal immigrants are coming in and stealing their jobs because they're working for less money, how do you think they felt about people importing people involuntarily and having them work for free? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense with that kind of thinking, yeah.
So why would they be pro-slavery? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen like over a handful of Esoteric Entities videos. You learn a lot from him. Yeah, he's quite a sharp dude.
Charts and graphs and stuff. Yeah, he uses charts and graphs and stuff.
Yeah. And easy to understand logic. And he easily shreds through the commies and anarcho-communist arguments against anarcho-capitalism, and even against
him. It's really hard to interpret their arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm about to say might seem counterintuitive, but I feel like there's just not enough debates on the internet.
Yeah. Especially not the kind that's more like win-win rather than win-lose.
I just feel like not enough like Dave Rubin's out there. That's like I wish there could be like more debates like that. Like anarcho-capitalists and leftists, But there's really not like a lot of like stream because that's kind of like a unique thing, you know. You guys ever watch his show?
No, I've never heard of him.
I've sort of heard of him, but I've never seen his episodes before. But I think I'll check him out.
Yeah, check it out. It's weird. He's got this really great interview style where he's just like really non-confrontational, and even
Yeah,
if he doesn't
that's what I'd
agree,
like to try to do. That's what I was trying to do with one of those leftists, and he wasn't even taking me seriously. I was
yeah,
asking him about Pol Pot.
yeah. What about Pol Pot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they always do that whenever they're allowed to get into a group.
He was in that was in Cambodia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, how many people died during that?
Too many.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about the Dave Rubin show, though, is that he's had anarcho-capitalists on there. He's had Marxists on there. He's interviewed both. And I think he's probably the only YouTuber that I've seen that has had success doing that.
Yeah, I'm a big thinker, and I was trying to think of how to do debates that are as less as win-lose and less and as painless as possible. I've been trying to think about that, trying to think about how to make it more fun. And I remember saying in voice chat in Google Hangouts after a stream in which Wolf Leftist, he said he somewhat agreed with fighting for liberty with ideas and not violence. And I let him know that I disagreed about violent revolution. I don't know if he remembers that or not, but now I'm not so sure I want to debate him anytime soon. What he and his friends did.
My approach is that ANCAP should start businesses and buy restaurants and then hang signs outside that say ANCAPs only, no status allowed. So have either of you have done a debate on YouTube or in this live stream format yet?
Nope, I am
not really.
YouTubes.
I didn't get much of a chance to the one time. I sort of partially engaged in the YouTube chat room with this, one of this kid that, with the username The Great Fascist. Oh boy. The Great Fascist. Well, he said that morals don't exist, and I was appalled by what he said. I was like, what? Of course morals exist. How would anything get done? And I called him out on it, and he and I went back and forth. And my honest statements brought out the sort of Stockholm syndrome from him.
See, now, if somebody were to say that to me, I would have been a little more. I would have tried to done a little bit more judo with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course morals don't exist. You know what else doesn't exist? Math. Valid. I'm not going to break open a coconut and find the number 1 or written in a note, 1 coconut.
Uh-huh.
You know what else doesn't exist? Circles, squares, spheres. Things exist either.
I mean, a coconut is a sphere.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not.
Well,
big sphere, but it's spherical.
Nope. Right, it's spherical. It's like sphere-ish.
Yeah. It's not like a perfect circle.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't mean like things that are round when I say a circle. I just mean like a circle as a mathematical concept doesn't exist in nature. You know, it's like, it's just an abstract idea that we use to make sense of things.
Yeah.
And they work, but they don't exist. So basically saying that something doesn't exist is not an argument. Is that how I approach it?
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's a fictional character.
You know, that doesn't mean he's not going to make you a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, something doesn't exist, therefore it's wrong. It's not an argument.
Yeah, not an argument.
Yeah.
So, if you guys could debate somebody, who do you want to debate?
I don't even know.
Well, I was aiming to try to debate Wolf Leftist because he somewhat agreed with me on what I mentioned earlier about being for liberty with ideas. But his recent actions, I'm not so sure now.
What did he do?
Well, what he did, he engaged with his friends, and they pretty much raided my channel and started trolling and started saying like dumb stuff and asking dumb questions. And one of the friends just played music in the background.
Oh yeah, don't debate trolls.
Yeah.
Don't invite a whole lot of people.
No.
When they're collectivists.
Yeah.
Because then they'll just all agree with each other and use that as grounds to dismiss you.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I got kicked, when someone kicked me out, that's when I got mad. That's my stream. Seriously. Coming from people that don't respect property. And they say something silly as, property is theft!
You know, that's a performative fallacy.
Yeah.
Not that I know logic, I don't, but I do know a performative fallacy when I see it.
Well, I don't know who else I'd wanted to debate. I guess I'm just not ready yet.
More about kind of putting forth interesting ideas, I guess.
So far I've been on written debates with people, but not video debates yet, not audio debates.
Yeah, I feel like you lose something when you debate somebody, you know, because I mean, there's no guarantee that they read what you say and even understand it.
Well, some may, at least some might, you know.
And if they don't understand it, you can wait, hold on, you misunderstood me. Let me explain.
Okay.
You know, but you can't do that in the text format. You know what I mean?
No.
Like if I'm sitting here like writing a paragraph, right, in the middle of writing my paragraph, the other person can interrupt me and say, "Hey, wait. You didn't quite understand what I meant." You know? I'm already knee deep into my novel, my rebuttal. You know? I completely forgot what the other person said. But I think that's why audio debates are a little bit, because you can have more of a back and forth, you know?
Well, I guess I'm not ready for that yet. I still have like
What about-
other videos to do.
What about you, Phantom of Ancapistan?
Phantom of Ancapistan. I mean,
He's the philosophical phantom of Ancapistan.
I never have issues with debating people. I do that all the time, anyways.
Like where? When?
In like chat rooms and stuff, like on Discord.
But you ever do it in real life? In RL?
I mean, sure, if I'm talking to someone and we're debating something.
When's the last time you debated somebody in RL about this?
I don't know. I don't go around talking to people and being like, debate me.
No.
Why not? That's how we should be. That's how we should be. We should be like in those old kung fu movies, like you would have a sign, like $1, fight me, and win $1. Right?
I mean, that would be entertaining.
Kung fu in the streets. Debate me for $1. Yo, conversations like that in real life is hard to do, So the more we do it, the better.
Yeah.
I recently watched a Steven Crowder. You ever guys listen to Steven Crowder?
Oh yeah, Louder with Crowder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, I can't stand him, honestly. But I watched one thing that he did, which I thought was interesting, where he put a table out and a sign that said, "I am pro-gun. Convince me that I'm wrong." Down and have like these really non-confrontational discussions about gun control with leftists on a college campus.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then, of course, like 3 people in, or he only got to talk to like 2 or 3 people before a bunch of commies and their police goons came around, which I think is so great how much they talk about they hate the police, but then as soon as they need them, man, they come around and just shut that shit down. Like fast.
Yeah.
So like having conversations with people in public and in real life and stuff is really, really threatening. And I think the reason is probably the most dangerous thing that we can do in their eyes is to have discussions about this stuff. Non-confrontational discussions in public.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube live streams don't count.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, I don't know. Just something to think about. Anyway, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, okay.
Cool chatting and everything.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm glad that we got to talk. I'd like to have you again sometime. That'd be cool. And I would like to engage with you in one of your podcasts.
Yeah, we'll definitely set something up.
Awesome.
I have your YouTube channel, right? Is that on your Twitter profile?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try to watch one. You got a video up?
Yeah, I've got more than one video. I've got a bunch of videos up.
All right, I'll try to watch some before I have you on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that way I'm not just like,
Yeah, do your homework.
Yeah.
You'll be quizzed. No, kidding.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right, take it easy.
All right.